And we're back.
And we're back. Man, that was a great break. All right, that was good. All right, I didn't even need a drink, turns out. That's fantastic.
See, aren't you refreshed?
It's wonderful.
Now answer my question.
What was your question?
Is it fair for older generations
I get
to castigate us because we play games and we're on the internet?
Okay. Yes and no. No, first of all, I don't see the correlation between the two. So I guess I missed the logical connection.
Well, there was an interesting...
between playing video games and being selfish, lazy bastards.
Did you... well, you obviously missed the article from Philadelphia Magazine.
I
Sandy
do.
Hingston.
I am a subscriber to Philadelphia Magazine.
Called The Sorry Lives and Confusing Times of Today's Young Men. Okay. Now, this woman specifically targets millennial men. Millennial women apparently are perfectly A-okay.
Right.
It's the men that are the problem.
Exactly.
Because they play, among other things, video games.
And they watch movies.
Yes. So is enjoying oneself a problem?
Well, wait a minute. enjoying oneself has a lot of different facets and forms. So that's why I want to say yes and no. That's why I need a cough button. Anyway, so... just smack the table.
Smack the table.
Yeah, and everything's fine.
Like, why did he smack the table?
Yeah,
They're not even listening to you.
Who cares? Yeah, why he just coughed in that direction. Anyway, so I think yes and no, because if we, if there is a correlation, I think that our generation is uniquely challenged with the Great Recession, so on and so forth, with the economy. Is the economy stupid, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, but that's good. But I think it is also accurate to say that there is a little bit of a lack of drive in this generation, and I think it's endemic. Well, I think it's an epidemic, I should say, in the culture.
Hold on, I'm getting a message from a baby boomer right now.
Oh, okay. What is it? Let's see.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, there you go. Very good. Yes, okay. That's true.
As you were saying,
that's good. It's very good. Well, you know what? This is an interesting point, right? That picture brings up an interesting point, right? So I know that my grandfather fought in World War II, for example, because his hope and desire was that his grandchildren would never have to fight in wars.
Right.
Right. And that his grandchildren could enjoy an America which was free from...
Or Canada.
I don't really know anything about that.
We have Canadian viewers. I don't want to keep them out.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Canadian viewers.
We love you, Canada.
Anyway, my point is that they basically set up the place that we know now as America. And so they were very successful at that. Mm-hmm. We're almost, I guess, victims of their success in a certain degree because we have lived a very sheltered existence in many ways, right? I'm not saying that there's plenty of differences and nuances to everyone's experience, obviously.
Yeah.
But the experience of suburbia
overall,
right?
The world was generally at peace throughout the 80s. Well, not the 80s, but the 90s.
Yeah.
Booming economy. We grew up expecting, and still do expect. You poll millennials, and Pew Research Center did a very interesting poll. They do this every once in a while, just polling the millennial generation to see what they think about things.
Yes.
Most are still think that they will get a good job.
Yes.
And this, that, and the other.
Right.
One of the most, and I found this very interesting. The most important the most important goal of the millennial generation, like a third of them, said their main goal was to have be good parents.
Okay, that's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
I know, I wouldn't have either. Why? Because you keep reading articles saying
how selfish we are.
Yeah, we're busy playing our video games.
All right, well, wait a minute.
We don't care about anything.
All right, so again, the place that I jump back to is the same place I went to before, which is I don't see the correlation there. I do think that there could be fair and unfair statements about our generation being lazy or not doing enough or whatever the case might be, but I'm not sure that there's a correlation between video games and that. So before I answer that question, I don't know. What are we doing?
I think Secondhand Store has a very, very important point. Our generation has found ways to be productive that are outside the norm. We can film videos, put them online, and make as much as a low-level office work or just an example.
There you go.
Among other things.
There you go.
Of all of the companies out there that are having IPOs this year.
Yes. Oh, God.
The biggest one was started by...
a douchebag. A complete freaking douchebag.
Who also happens to be a millennial.
A really, really big deal.
So Facebook, Twitter.
Take that, Zuckerberg.
I don't know the ages of the guys who started Twitter, but I think they're probably
The Tweeter?
late Gen X.
Okay, yeah.
Regardless, it's part of the and these generational lines. It's not like, oh, you were born like
No, I know.
You're like born on
They're
December 31st,
loose rules.
1981.
Yeah.
You are definitely Generation X.
Yes.
They're very flowing.
Right. That was a good motion there, too. You look like the tree of life.
Thank
You're
you.
like giving life to things.
But no, seriously, our generation, I believe, is starting to show green shoots, so to speak, of innovation.
Oh, yes. No, it is. So
Outside of what older generations would expect. They, growing up, would go to high school, maybe go to college. Maybe if they were lucky.
Right.
And
not even lucky, just as a matter of sheer desire of wanting to go to college.
Baby boomers were the first generation that really started going to college as a rule.
Right.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mostly going to college.
And this is before you had Jake's Barbecue and graduate school around the corner, which is what you have now.
Exactly.
Stuff you get spammed on in the mail.
And then they go and they
you're
work.
going to solve all your problems.
They go and they work for a certain company for 30, 40 years. They get their pension.
Yep.
And Social Security.
Yep.
And they're done.
Yep.
And that brings up a completely different...
And the white picket fences, which is why Mad Men is so damn popular, right? I mean,
yeah.
because we look at that and there is a little bit of nostalgia to it, right? Isn't there?
Well, yeah, there's always nostalgia.
But there's no. I didn't live then. How do I have nostalgia for it, right? It's something that we have nostalgia for, this era bygone in America where things were just a little bit simpler. And all these things weren't buzzing around our heads all the time. We might be... Let's talk about, maybe we talked about some of the things that are correctly or incorrectly assigned. Can I talk about some things I think that are correctly assigned to our generation?
Okay.
I would say, above all else, we are the entitled generation. We are the entitlement generation. In other words, not that we are entitled, but we, for some reason, have it baked into our skulls that if we do X, Y will happen. Because we go to school... because we get a degree, or because we get straight A's, or because we know somebody, or because our dad is this guy or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. We deserve X. We deserve Y, right? So that is what gets me about it. If you talk to someone that's in school or someone that's coming up through the ranks right now, if you asked, I think, someone 25 years ago, they would not say the same thing. They might say something about you need a degree to be successful, to make good money. So they would still say that. But what I think they would say is the most important thing to do in having an active career is to work very hard. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, people wouldn't say that at all, right?
No.
Now it's more about go get this degree, and suddenly a magic door opens up.
And it doesn't matter what the degree's in.
It makes no difference.
It can be an underwater basket weaving.
Which is a fine degree for all of you underwater basket weavers.
Except that people that have been doing that, millennials that have been doing that, have been hitting a brick wall definitely the past few years, but even the past 10 years or so.
Right. Right. So
because just getting a degree in anything isn't enough anymore.
No, and by the way, if everyone this is the big nasty secret.
College is the new high
If
school.
people aren't born out there to be ditch diggers,
the world needs ditch diggers too.
I'm serious. Because I'm not going to change anybody's worldview out there, and I'm sorry if this is offensive to some people, but I believe firmly that some people are born to dig ditches.
Well,
and you know what? Everyone going to college ceases to explain the reason we have college to begin with, right?
Well, that's a crass way to put it, but I get your point.
Yeah.
Is that something like technical schools, community colleges, college? Like,
by the way, I think ditch diggers make pretty good money.
Well, that's the whole.
But anyway,
like the whole thing with Dirty Jobs on the Discovery Channel,
exactly,
is kind of shining a light on. Hey, these are the people that help society function,
exactly,
or civilization function.
Right.
They deserve respect because for so long, what did your parents tell you? You got to go to college so you don't wind up
on the street
being a plumber or a mechanic.
Right.
And now, I think especially our generation is starting to realize, wow, you know what? That plumber that makes $80,000 a year,
we need that guy.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, we need that guy.
I wish I had known that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, but at the same time, I think, we, like, for example, for me, I love doing like Habitat for Humanity, and one of the reasons I love doing Habitat for Humanity is because I get to work with my hands. Mm-hmm. You get a day off of work,
right?
To go and like get up at 7:00 in the morning grab a crowbar and either take a house apart or put a house together, right? You get to work with your hands. And so for like one day, in every short while, I get to do Habitat for Humanity and act like I work with my hands. And I feel accomplished and I do things and it's great, right?
Right.
So there's this almost like, it seems like the 40s, I'm not sorry, the 40s, the 20s kind of idealizing of the factory workers, the idealizing of the lunch pail carriers, the blue collar, right? We kind of see that coming back into the fore right now. The issue is it's definitely not represented in our generation. You don't see that at all in our generation. Our generation is very much about, I need an iPad because everyone needs an iPad and it's unfair if I don't have one. Well, wait a minute. The iPad is a luxury item that costs a lot of money. Money is made in very distinctive, precise ways. You don't happen to do them. So where the hell do you get off saying that you need an iPad?
So in that way, this generation is entitled.
And I just used our first topic to talk about our second one. How
Bonus,
cool is that?
Bonus points.
Bam!
And you know what? I think you're pretty much right. But at the same time, I think it's changing as we grow older.
I think it is changing. If it isn't changing, I'd be pretty disappointed.
Because we're not just sucking down everything that we were taught as little kids anymore.
No, I know.
And you know what one of the biggest thing is? And again, sorry, this is going to be America centric, but
yep.
No matter who I talk to, man, we're skirting politics so much. No matter who I talk to, our age of the millennial generation, it doesn't matter if they're conservative, liberal, independent, whatever.
Makes no difference.
None of us expect to have Social Security when we graduate, when we retire.
Right.
Despite whatever the government's saying right now is, oh yeah, it'll be there.
Yep.
None of us believe that.
Yep.
Because we're not that stupid. We can see writing on the wall that.
Right.
Unless there's some ridiculous thing that happens.
The other thing is our generation hates labels. That is one of the things that we hate.
That is also true.
We hate labels. So the old labels, the labels of the past, don't really work very well for us, which is very interesting. Anyway, so I think what we should probably get into is what video games have to really do with this. Because fairly or unfairly, video games have been pushed on us. The internet, all these things have been projected onto us.
We've grown up
by baby boomers.
Yeah,
and by Generation Xers.
Shigeru Miyamoto. He's a baby boomer.
And by Shigeru Miyamoto.
That bastard.
Anyway, projects on us that we are the gamers and that makes us somehow less worthy of our time than everybody else. We obviously don't have that particular position. We don't hold that position, right?
Yes.
Video games, if I think we're being fair, have the same social significance as books, as television, as films, right? Now, you can say that that's
still an argument.
It's still an argument.
But mostly between baby boomers and younger generation.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I don't even see that as an argument anymore. People say, yes, that's true, but why does 90% of video games have really have trash as its subject matter? And you know what? I don't have a great answer for that, because you know what? They're right.
Well, yeah, but I
mean, that sucks, but they're right.
To be entertaining, a great video game to be entertaining doesn't need to have a great story.
No,
as opposed to a book.
I think you're right. But that's
Tetris is one of the greatest video games of all time.
I understand, but that's not the point.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying. My point is that video games in general are things that people do in their leisure. Their leisure time pleasures that we enjoy. Recreational activities. Like reading a book.
Exactly.
Like playing outside.
Yes.
Like riding, flying kites. Like model airplanes. Like everything that's ever come before it, right? So why is it? Because I think video games are unfairly cast in the light of that they're somehow different. That if you're a video gamer, that means you don't do anything that's of any kind of worth. So you play video games. That's why I'm unhappy with the correlation between, yes, maybe our generation is just flat out lazy. I think that's a distinct possibility. As a matter of fact, look at the culture. Look at what songs are popular, right? How many songs right now are out about being in the club?
2,000. But there's some good music out there.
I'm not saying there's not good music. My point is that Almost every popular song, top 40 tune, is about being in the club,